Welcome back to Mock the Mock, where I take a look at someone else's mock draft and die mock it. Give you my views, thoughts, and opinions. We got a great one for you today. We're going to be taking a look at the Athletics' own Dane Brugler, one of the best draft minds in the biz, and see what he got here. So let's go ahead and roll through this sucker with number 1. Chicago Bears taking Caleb Williams. I think a lot of people are finally starting to get on the Caleb Williams boat, the Caleb Williams train. Choo-choo, let's go. But yeah, the Chicago Bears, I mean, it's a tough decision to make. I mean, Fields has looked good at parts, like during the last stretch of the season, but you get to reset that rookie contract at quarterback with, to be fair, a prospect that's probably just that's higher rated than Fields was coming out. Like, I'm actually gonna go ahead. I'm gonna pull up. It was the 2021 class. I think I had Fields. Like, I was pretty high on Fields, but not as high as I am on McCarthy. Like, Fields was, I think he ended up being quarterback 2 for me in the 2021 class. I just have Caleb Williams higher. And if you want to hear more about Caleb Williams, I just released my quarterback rankings. That's right, for the 2024 NFL draft. So check out that video. Let's go ahead to Washington, get this QB2 out the way. Hey, we got Drake May going to Washington. New GM, going to be a new coaching staff. Probably going to go for a new quarterback. Drake May, for the second time in his young career, is going to be the successor to Sam Howell. So, yeah, good stuff, man. May's great, man. He's got an ideal build, and he's got a big arm. You just love it. Now, this is where the draft starts. Are we going to see quarterback? Or are we going to see something else here for the New England Patriots? They got Jerod Mayo now as the head coach. They go with Marvin Harrison Jr. Okay. Let's read this one out. The Patriots were cruising to the number 2 pick until 2 wins in their final 5 games dropped them to number 3. While that likely takes them out of the contention for Williams in May, the Patriots still have several favorable options. With Bill Belichick no longer with the organization, there is a level of unknown here, especially considering New England needs help in many areas. Despite questions about who will throw him the ball, though drafting a legitimate number 1 target is a wise move. So I'm not against it. Me and Trevor Sycamore, we did a mock draft a few days ago where we kind of talked about the same situation, the same scenario. And we actually saw Jaden Daniels like drop considerably. And if you look at my QB rankings, I have him listed as a top 20 prospect, not necessarily a surefire top 10. So teams that are here in this upper echelon, I get it. Quarterback values, quarterback gets overvalued and they get just pushed to the top of the board. But in this top 5, top 6, when we get to the Giants, it'll be interesting to see what they do. I'm curious, will anyone pull the trigger on Jaden Daniels? Or will we see him go to teams like the Vikings, the Saints, the Broncos, the Raiders? So keep moving. Arizona Cardinals, no trades in this one. They go Malik Neighbors, and I think that's kind of the best case scenario if Marvin Harrison, outside of trading down, if Marvin Harrison is no longer on the board, I think you go Malik Neighbors if you can't trade down. Like, we'd be talking about him as wide receiver 1 if Marvin Harrison Jr. didn't exist. I think it's wild. Like people, the gap's not that big between those two. Like, Neighbors, wonderful after the catch, explosive athlete, can attack the field at all 3 levels. You'll love to see it. They need someone like that. All right, we got Brock Bowers going in number 5. So, oh man, I'm really curious to see if we're gonna see an offensive tackle off the board at the Giants pick, or if it's gonna be Jaden Daniels. But the Chargers, they go with a pass catcher here with obviously Malik Neighbors off the board. That's kind of a favorite pick for a lot of Chargers fans right now. They could also opt to go tackle. But Brock Bowers, I think he's a blue chipper. He's worth the top 10 pick in my opinion. But since he plays tight end, I wonder how much that will shoot his value down a little bit. Depending on who the Chargers bring in, as they, I think what it wasn't the, I think Jim Harbaugh, the first team he met with, or at least as far as I know, the only team he's met with thus far is the Chargers. So we shall see. We shall see. Now, this might be where the draft starts. I'm very curious to see what the Giants pick here. They go Rome Odunze. Oh, the tackles are slipping, and I'm here for it. I'm okay with it. Jeez Louise, man. Like, can you imagine just Rome Odunze? You got Jalen Hyatt, who I think could be a solid number 2, number 3 wide receiver. You got Wan'Dale Robinson, and I know the ownership for the Giants. They like Danny Dimes. They don't want to give up on Danny Dimes. They said he's going to be their QB week 1, but that doesn't mean they're not going to look at QB in the draft or in the free agency, but that doesn't mean they have to take quarterback here. So I'm okay with the Rome Odunze pick. I don't mind them not, I get not throwing more rookies at the offensive line, maybe addressing that through free agency, because to be fair, the offensive line free agency class ain't half bad. The tackle class is kind of like, it is what it is. You could probably there's a couple of guys there that there's injury concerns, but you could maybe get, and they're older, so probably get a good 1-year contract with some of those guys. Tyron Smith, got Trent Brown. So there's other options. I know they're pretty sold on Evan Neal too, so I don't know. It's going to be very, very interesting. But I imagine Tennessee, they're number 7. We're going to see an offensive tackle off the board. And that's exactly what happens here as Joe Alt is off the board for the Tennessee Titans. That offensive line was cheeks. Straight cheeks. It was bad. It wasn't good. It was, in fact, a very bad. So they grab Alt here. He was my number 1 tackle entering the season, and he will probably remain there as we get to my offensive tackle rankings. I don't know when I'll post those. I'll probably post those in the next couple of days. Number 8, Jaden Daniels. So I don't think we're going to project a Justin Fields landed spot, because I think this would be one of the spots. But Arthur Smith is gone. This is a team that probably feels like they're a quarterback away when it comes to the offense. And they go with Jaden Daniels, who he won the Heisman. He was probably the most electrifying player in college football this season. So I'm cool with it. I'm okay with it. I like it. I love it. I'm curious to see if we're going to see more quarterbacks in the first round here. Whether it's a Bo Nix, a JJ McCarthy, a Michael Penix. But before we get to pick 9, let me give a shout out to Underdog Fantasy. Thank you for being the sponsor of today's video. If you like weekly best ball, or higher or lower on player props, that's one of my favorites, then check out Underdog Fantasy. When you sign up using promo code Broshmo, they will match that first deposit up to $100 dues. That's right. But please, with everything, bet responsibly, bet within your means. It's the NFL playoffs. They got a ton of deals going on right now. So remember, when you sign up, use promo code Broshmo. But please, bet responsibly. Pick 9. We got the Chicago Bears going Dallas Turner, first defensive player off the board. It is a very good edge free agency, and I think the Bears will probably be buyers when it comes to the edge free agent class, which kind of leaves this pick. Well, they could kind of go anywhere. They could go with Olufashanu. They could go with if Rome Odunze was still here, they could go with the best defensive player, which is probably likely going to be an edge player. But Dallas Turner here, I think, is fine. A-okay. You want to get that running mate for Montez Sweat. I do think they will be buyers, though, in free agency. At pick 10, Olufashanu, kind of a no-brainer. The Jets' offensive line wasn't that good, so they snag him here. Minnesota Vikings. They've already talked about Kirk Cousins, the possibility of him coming back. So they might not be in the quarterback market, at least early in the draft. They do need edge help. They really do. Like you see, you got Danielle Hunter, DJ Wonham, Marcus Davenport, all free agents. They even if they bring back one or two of those guys, they need edge help. This was a team that blitzed at an incredibly high rate, like 60%. And it's not because Brian Flores has been that aggressive his whole career. Like, yeah, if him in like the 40% range makes sense. 60 means he really didn't trust the pass rush. It made them very predictable. So adding more pass rush help, I think, goes a long way. Latu will be at the Senior Bowl. Senior Bowl is going to be heck of fun. All right, pick 12. The Denver Broncos go Terrion Arnold. I feel like this has to be a quarterback spot. But, I mean, I get it. I understand why maybe you don't go it if you're not in love with all the quarterbacks after Daniels is off the board. Because, I mean, the next guys I have on the list, I have first-round grades on, but not, like, top 20 grades. Kind of is what it is. Getting a guy next to Patrick Surtain, I think, goes a long way. I think that cornerback 2 spot is definitely something that's up for grabs. Arnold, you get someone that can play inside and out. I know a lot of people are jumbled and they have a mixture of who they think cornerback 1 is. Is it Cooper DeJean? Is it Nate Wiggins? Is it Kool-Aid McKinstry? Again, it's kind of like pick your preference. Arnold's definitely in that mix as well. Las Vegas Raiders go J.C. Latham. All right. Well, first they need to do the right thing by hiring Antonio Brown as the head coach. So do the right thing. This is a guy that has just switched the vibe around the organization. They do have Illuminor as a free agent who occupies that. Has occupied the right tackle spot, though Thayer Mumford has done that, though probably maybe better at the guard position, or maybe see him more as a backup. So grabbing J.C. Latham, whoever they have is OT3. You could also make a good case for Amarius Mims. You make a great case for Telenisa Fuaga. The Raiders go with that. New Orleans Saints go Jared Verse, man. The Saints could go a variety of different ways. They could look to get younger at the pass rushing position. They don't know what they have in Isaiah Foskey. Cam Jordan's up there in years. Really, the only secure piece that they have is Carl Granderson. I think that's his last name. But regardless, they extended him earlier this year. He's been really good for him. So grabbing his running buddy won't surprise me. I think tackle's definitely on the table with Ryan Ramczyk in the knee injury. Don't know what his future may look like. And obviously quarterback. But wildly enough, Derek Carr played pretty good at the end of the year. So maybe they're willing to run him back. Maybe they feel pot committed right now to Derek Carr. Indianapolis Colts go with Nate Wiggins. I really like that. I'm a big fan of Wiggins. He's kind of floating around. He's the guy that's floating around my cornerback 1 spot along with Kool-Aid McKinstry. Colts, they could definitely get better at the corner position. Gus Bradley doesn't blitz a lot. They have guys that they're like, you know what, we can get pressure with these guys. We could definitely add to it, but they probably more so want to add to the corner position, and they're in a really good spot where you already have, at this point, 3 edge players off the board. So getting cornerback 2 in this class kind of seems like a good get. Listen, I know you love the NFL draft as much as I do, and you're going to want a nice hefty watch list of players during this college football season. Well, go ahead, check out my draft guide. You can purchase it for only $30 by Venmoing or PayPaling me. Links in the description. It's a one-time payment and you get it for this whole draft cycle and forever and always. Technically, it's a Google spreadsheet. So send me your email when you send the payment. I'll get you hooked up. You will see my current prospect rankings and big board, my full evals. And guess what? It updates throughout the whole draft cycle. So it's a great purchase and it's a great way to support the channel. Seattle Seahawks go with Byron Murphy. Yes. Listen, I love Byron Murphy. I'm a big fan. He is making a push for defensive interior 1 for me over Jason Newton. I've been saying it for like a month now. I know I haven't released my rankings, but I've at least hinted at it quite a bit. The Seahawks, they got a lot of interior players that will be free agents. So if this is a route they want to go, I love it. I'm all for it. Big fan. Jacksonville Jaguars go with Brian Thomas, another guy that I've been hyping up the last month or so as a guy that is on the rise. Big fan of Brian Thomas. The guy's got bunny's size, speed, got a good athletic background, was, I guess you could say, overshadowed by neighbors, but I mean, he put up great numbers as well. Let me just pull him up as he went for over 1,100 yards. He had 17 touchdowns. His contested catch rate, 53.8%, is pretty nice as well. Cincinnati Bengals, they're going with Marius Mims. That right tackle spot's wide open. Mims, very toolsy prospect. Tools that kind of warrant a top 10 selection. It's just in his first year as a starter, which was this year, after a very encouraging run in the playoffs in 2022. Flowed by that ankle injury, didn't get to see him a whole ton. A guy that, yeah, there's parts of his game that needs cleaned up, but a lot of that will come with started experience. Jonah Williams, he's a free agent. They're not bringing him back. Los Angeles Rams go with JJ McCarthy. All right, we got another quarterback off the board. Here we go. And it's kind of the right pick for the Rams. Listen, Matthew Stafford is up there in age. Like, he's going to be 36 next season. I've said JJ McCarthy probably needs a little bit more time in the oven, and he'll get that behind Matthew Stafford. JJ McCarthy's a guy that can come in and run your offense. As you don't, like, we haven't seen, like, at Michigan, the offense didn't need to be put on his shoulders, but he came in, he ran the offense exceptionally well. But he's a very capable quarterback, the youngest quarterback in this class. He's got the arm talent, and we've seen him make dots. Like I said, we've seen it in the Ohio State game. We saw a couple in the national championship. Like, JJ McCarthy is a very good prospect and probably needs another year. So if you're a team that can develop him, then it works A-okay here. More so than it would probably one of the older prospects like a Bo Nix or a Michael Penix. All right, we got the Pittsburgh Steelers going Cooper DeJean. I like the pickup. Big fan of the pickup. They don't really have a cornerback too. It's a position they need to get younger at. Cooper DeJean, he has that flexibility where you can move him all around the field. So, yeah, and it sounds like he's going to be able to perform at the combine, that he'll be healed from that leg injury. At 21, the Miami Dolphins get my boy, Jackson Powers-Johnson. I love that this guy is starting to give it hype. I love it. I've been hyping him up for months now. I love Jackson Powers-Johnson. I think he's the best center in this class. He has guard flexibility. He played, I think it was right guard for the Ducks in 2022. He is just a people mover. Really is, man. Probably one of the most powerful interior players in this class. As we see Philly, they're going Quinion Mitchell, who ends up going ahead of Kool-Aid here. So that's a little interesting. I think people are a little down on Kool-Aid. I don't know why. I get that the ball skills might not be like flashy, but like the dude is a shutdown corner. Regardless, I think Quinion is really going to help his stock at the Senior Bowl. I've talked about him as kind of this late first round pick. So I'm all aboard the Eagles secondary, as we've seen during like the back half of the season and against the Bucs in the playoffs. Piss poor. It's pretty bad. Houston Texans take Talanisa Fuaga. They list him as tackle or guard, so he's either your right guard or your right tackle. Shaq Mason is an older player, so maybe you're looking at him at guard immediately. Howard's contract, I know, is not up after this season, but he is coming off of injury, so you're probably actually viewing Fuaga as a guard in this scenario, who has that tackle flexibility that can kick out. So you continue to build the offensive line. which I'm okay with. I'm all for. And shoot, man, they could actually just put Howard at left guard. They have done that before, and you have Fuaga at right tackle. Like, again, it just gives your offensive line a lot of versatility. So Texans, another team that's that could go in a variety of different directions. Dallas Cowboys go with Tyler Guyton. I like Guyton. Dude is uber athletic. I don't think he's a start now prospect. I liked Anton Harrison better than him in that regard. But there's no denying it. Like, Guyton's very athletic. And if you really want to develop a tackle like the Cowboys probably do with Tyron Smith hitting free agency, then you can do it with Guyton. You really can. It's just, I see him as a top 50 guy, maybe a fringe first rounder, which we are in that area, but I think I'd prefer not to take him in the first round. But I'm not against it. I'm not against it. Green Bay Packers, they go with Troy Fautanu out of Washington, listed as a tackle guard. And another guy that gives the offensive line versatility. Who's man in their left guard spot, if I may ask? That wasn't Runyon, was it? Because you got Jenkins on the right side, Zach Tom. I think it is Runyon. No. It was Jenkins at left guard. But I mean, the guy could play anywhere. So if they want to put Fautanu at left guard and you can move Jenkins to right guard, Runyon is a free agent. They have Zach Tom, Josh Myers there at center. But I mean, Fautanu, if things don't work out with Rasheed Walker at left tackle, you kick Fautanu out there. Again, it just gives your offensive line more versatility. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, here we go. We got the Kool-Aid. Kool-Aid McKinstry off the board. McKinstry has mostly second-round grades from scouts. Oh, that hurts my heart. But his tape and his resume show a prospect with NFL starting skills. I agree. According to one NFL scout, Neighbors named McKinstry as the toughest cornerback he faced in college. So the Bucs, like, if you look like Carlton Davis has had his struggles and has been injured a little bit. Jamil Dean, the other corner there, has been injured as well. So grabbing depth at the most volatile position on the field, being the cornerback position, never a bad idea. It's never the wrong answer. I'm okay with it. It's really good value at this point. Arizona Cardinals at pick 27 go with Kingsley Suamatea. I'm a big fan. I think he could play guard. I think he could play tackle. Gives them flexibility there. Cardinals, in this scenario, they go offensive line, or they go offense with their first two picks. I imagine then they will get very defensive with the remainder of the draft. I'm okay with it. I'm hoping he's going to have a great Senior Bowl. The guy's got the length. He's got the tools, the athleticism, the play strength to be a good starter. Just someone who probably needs to work on the technique a little bit. He has right tackle, left tackle versatility as well. Kansas City Chiefs go with Jer'Zhan Newton. I mean, at this point, like, the value, you can't deny the value. Like, it's a very deep wide receiver class. If they want to go with right wide receiver in the second round, I think that's fine. Jer'Zhan Newton is just, again, too good to pass up at this point. You have Chris Jones as a free agent, so you're going to want to add to the interior. If you don't bring him back, he's going to be very expensive to bring back. Keep in mind, they also have L'Jarius Sneed as a free agent. They have like Willie Gay. They have some Mike Dana. They have considerable amount of free agents along that defense. So that's a good pick. Good. Buffalo Bills go with Keon Coleman. So not necessarily like a verbatim Gabe Davis replacement, but Coleman's pretty darn good. If you're looking for like an alpha X wide receiver, he's actually a really good complement to like a Stephon Diggs. They've liked what they've had with Khalil Shakir, who I was a big fan of coming out of Boise State. So hey, you want to go in on wide receiver, this may be the class. This is the class. Detroit Lions go with Tavondre Sweat out of Texas. So they get a big meaty boy in the middle there. Keep in mind, Aleem McNeil kind of kicked more of like that 3-tech penetrator. Benito Jones is a free agent, so They don't like edge, which, I mean, Braylon Trice is kind of tough to pass up at this spot. And then, I mean, you could also talk about the corner class because, I mean, Kamari Lasser would probably be the guy that you're considering here. I think regardless defense, I think a sneaky pick here could be like a guard. So like I've put in like Jackson Powers Johnson in this spot. I've put I don't think I've put, but I'd consider like a Troy Fatanu, but both those guys are off the board. 31. San Francisco 49ers go with Graham Barton. That interior was just woof this year. It was hurt, it was banged up, and the play wasn't always ideal. I mean, they've had injuries all along the offensive line where they've had to kick Spencer Burford out to tackle. But grabbing Graham, a guy that could play guard or center, he was recruited as a guard, played center his freshman year, and then played left tackle his last 3 years at Duke. But he's going to be viewed as a guard center combo in the NFL. He's a really good fit for the Niners' wide zone blocking scheme. Baltimore Ravens go with Jordan Morgan. I love Jordan Morgan starting to get love. I'm a big fan of Morgan, whether he plays guard or tackle. I think in that mock draft I did with Trevor Sikkema, I took him for the Dolphins. And I mean, you look at Baltimore, they got an opening at left guard. Their their tackles in general are getting older with Morgan Moses. And I mean, Ronnie Stanley has struggled staying healthy. So, like, definitely in the wheelhouse here in a very good offensive line class, I think, in general. Real quick, what's crackalacking? It's your boy Broshmo, just in case you did not know. So go ahead, become a bro and subscribe. Leave this video a thumbs up if you enjoy the content. As always, let me know what you think in the comment section below, where we have that nice, beautiful football discourse. There's a round 2, so let's get to round 2. So do we have like a full round 2? We do have a full round 2. Shoot, we're going to run through round 2 real quick. A.D. Mitchell going to the Carolina Panthers. Wide receiver seems like the obvious pick for the Panthers, so I like Mitchell here. He's a fringe first rounder along there with Troy Franklin. Bo Nix going to the New England Patriots. They have a great option of just like sitting back and seeing who falls between like guys like J.J. McCarthy, Bo Nix, Michael Penix, and just take them at 34. And I think that's honestly great. I think obviously they could probably move up back into the back end of the first round, take one of those guys so they could get that 5th-year option. But Bo Nix is such a good pick for the Patriots. Arizona Cardinals take Chop Robinson, twitched up, probably one of the most explosive players at the edge position. It's just the consistency is kind of up and down when it comes to Chop Robinson. Well worth the top 50 pick though. And like I said, Cardinals are now going defense for probably the remainder of this draft. Patrick Paul going to the Commanders. A little high for me. He could have big Senior Bowl will elevate him for me, obviously. But the Commanders probably do need a little bit of tackle help. Oh, that is funny that his brother does play for the Commanders. Chris Paul at Tulsa, if you remember. Chargers take Chris Jenkins. This is a little high for me when it comes to Chris Jenkins. Kind of is what it is, but yeah, they probably want to address that defensive line. They're probably going to want to address defense in general. Good pick. Not the flashiest or the sexiest pick. A guy that it got a little bit better as a pass rusher, but not a considerable amount, but very technically sound, very good against the run. Tennessee Titans take Kamari Lassiter. The corner position has been on the fritz for the Titans. I mean, dude, they have a new regime, or at least a new head coach coming in. Will be interesting to see what they do. Maybe they kind of dip into the wide receiver class, but Lassiter is really good value here. Giants take Braylon Trice. They do need someone opposite of Kayvon Thibodeau. So I like the pick here. Again, this is kind of like going with the whole, no, they're committed to Danny Dimes, so we will not take quarterback early in the draft. Washington Commanders next take Tyler Nubin, which, hey man, yeah, Cameron Curl is a free agent. I talked about him in my free agent video. Maybe they'll bring him back. You grab Nubin, I think that's fine. Green Bay Packers take Jaden Hicks. Oh, this is the highest I've seen him taken, but I like it. I'm here for it. Wow, ahead of like Cam Kitchen too. I think probably be a better fit. I don't know. Maybe Joe Barry keeps his job with the Packers just making it past the wild card, making it to the playoffs in general. I think we haven't seen the last of Joe Barry for the Packers. But man, I like Jaden Nix. He had a more quiet second half of the season, but golly, he started the season off so hot. Vikings go with Rook Arohoro, so they decide to double dip on the defensive line to really get some violent, disruptive players there. Arohoro is among them. You got Falcons going with Jalen Polk. You want to get a number 2 there next to Drake London. I like Polk. He's a bit of a junkyard dog, got some vertical capability to him. I would like a little bit more speed, though, for the Falcons. Not saying Polk's a bad pick. He's not by any means, and not saying he's slow or anything, but I would also still be looking for that legit speedster. No edge player, by the way, for the Falcons. Here's Michael Penix going to the Raiders. So there we go. They get their quarterback. So not necessarily giving up on Aiden O'Connell at this point, but definitely getting him competition. I said Michael Penix is a top 50 prospect for me. Here he is going to the Raiders. They get some competition there. I'm all for it. So now I don't think we will see a quarterback for the remainder of this draft. I think this is only 2 rounds, right? We'll find out. Dominic Pooney going to the Saints. Guy that played left tackle for Kansas. He's got tackle guard versatility. Probably looked at more as a guard in this class, but a little high, I think, in my opinion. But I love the movement skills. I just don't think the play strength is there. Chris Braswell going to the Colts, so they do address the defensive line, and I think they do it in a very good way here with Chris Braswell, who's just got all the tools. Giants take Javon Bullard. That's great. If they let Xavier McKinney walk in free agency, then Bullard's like the perfect guy to replace him with. He really is. Cooper Beebe going to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Beebe, very solid. I think a lot of people just don't talk about him just because his tape's not exciting. He just very lunch pail-esque, like come in, clock in, does his job, clocks out. Jags do need guard help. Then Cincinnati Bengals, Ladd McConkey. Okay, Tyler Boyd is a free agent. I imagine Higgins is getting the franchise tag. So, yeah, I think that's solid. It's a good pick. Are there, like, Tez Walker is a guy I'd probably also consider here. Troy Franklin's still on the board. I would love Troy Franklin at this spot, actually. Philadelphia Eagles go with Junior Colson. So, first linebacker off the board. I don't think Colson will be my linebacker one. But he's definitely in the running, man. I'm a big fan of Colson. Great athlete that just plays the position how you want your linebacker to. He checks a lot of boxes. And the Eagles, like straight up, that back seven was terrible. Defense in general just had a rough go of it in the second half of the season. Zach Frazier going to the Steelers, probably a replacement for Mason Cole. This is a tad high. I think even... Yeah. So, okay, Dane Brugler says here, his late season leg injury clouds his projection a tad bit. I still think he probably goes in like day 2 somewhere, maybe more so round 3, but I like the pickup, even if he has to redshirt or start the year on IR. Rams, they go with corner Ennis Rakestraw. I think he's going to have a big Senior Bowl. They do need corner help. He's got better size than currently what they have at corner, and he's got better speed. He tested out really well in high school. So, like him here. Eagles are back on the clock, and they just keep going with defense, and I love it. Kalen Bullock is phenomenal. Another guy that's getting overshadowed in this class, but dude's really good. Legit ball hawk. Like, he's got legit ball skills. So him going here to the Eagles. You got Troy Franklin going to the Browns. Amari Cooper is expensive, but it wouldn't be bad to get a number 2 there with him. They do have Cedric Tillman, but Franklin's just extraordinary value at this point. Miami Dolphins go with Edgerrin Cooper. All right, we're seeing the linebackers come off the board. I think David Long's on a 1-year deal. What are other spots that we could go here? Like, I don't mind like Xavier Worthy. Like, let's just go ahead, send it. Just get all the speed, right? But Cooper's a good fit. Like, he's got great length. He's got great range. He's not polished enough in coverage yet, but I think that doesn't matter. You come in. Jerome Baker, by the way, is a free agent as well. David Long only signed a 1-year deal, right? David Long. Contract. Oh no, it was a 2-year deal. Perfect. I love that. I love that. All right, Dallas Cowboys, they go with Jonathan Brooks. Don't know if he'll be ready by the time the season starts, so it kind of makes his projection cloudy. For is he RB1? I tend to like still lean Trey Benson, but that's fine. To each their own. Like, I love Brooks's his contact balance. I was a bit shocked that he decided to come out, but I mean, next year's run back class looks pretty darn good. Like, pretty bundled. Like, looks like there's gonna be a ton of good talent there. Buccaneers go with Xavier Worthy. This one's a bit interesting. They grab speed. Mike Evans is a free agent, but not exactly the receiver you would look. Relates to the type of receiver in terms of skill set and size that you would use to replace Evans. But I get it, man. Speed kills. He's probably going to go early because of it. Kalen Keene going to the Packers here at pick 58. Solid corner. Had a bit of a down year. Thought he might come back, but regardless, still a solid guy worth being taken in the top 64. And I mean, we've talked about that Packers corner position probably needing a guy to come in and kind of help revamp it. Because they've dealt with a lot of injuries when it comes to Eric Stokes, when it comes to Jair Alexander. You got Carrington Valentine, who is a late day 3 draft pick. So, yeah, add more talent to the squad. Houston Texans go with Malachi Corley. I get it. You look, is like, oh, it's Bobby Slowick. Yeah, you know what's keen in this offense? Yak ability. Corley has that, and he has it in spades. Like, I've even thought that maybe he makes the transition to running back. So I get why everyone's giving him the Deebo Samuel comp. Kansas City Chiefs, they go with Jatavion Sanders. So they choose not to go wide receiver, but they do address the playmaker position. And Sanders is a good addition. Would I rather this be a wide receiver? Yes. But I get it. Kelsey is up there in age. I think he's currently 34. So won't be around forever. You want to start looking at the heir apparent. Cameron Kitchens going to the Buffalo Bills. They got, I think, a couple of safeties that will be free agents this season. But it's a position that they are currently old at. So grabbing Kitchens here is really good value. DJ Tampa going to the Lions. I love Tampa. This is a phenomenal pick. I really like this for the Lions. San Francisco 49ers, they double dip on the offensive line with Kieran Amanganji. I'll get his name down. I don't think he'll be able to take part in the offseason process. But I know he's coming out of Yale, but he's a guy that has all the tools. You see the power, you see the athleticism, you see the frame, you see the length. He looks like a very good project to have. So we will see where he goes. I think he probably more in the mid to back end of the 3rd round area, but still a fan. And then the final pick is Darius Robinson out of Mizzou. I think he's going to have a big Senior Bowl. A guy that mainly played edge this past season, but he is someone that you could play all along the defensive line. Very toolsy guy that I think the Ravens would love having someone like this. Keep in mind, I mean, you got Kyle Van Noy and Clowney as free agents. You have Justin Matabuke, who's going to warrant a lot of money if you want to keep him, so maybe that doesn't happen. So Robinson isn't a bad get. Is this his range, though? Might be a little early, but again, a lot can change after the Senior Bowl. But that's it for the video. Go ahead, do that YouTube thing. Do it. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. But as always, until next time, you be easy, my friends. Later.